chapter 64. For the leader, a psalm of David. Hear my voice, O God, in my complaint. Preserve my life from the terror of the enemy. Hide me from the counsel of evildoers, from the tumult of the workers of iniquity, who have whet their tongue like a sword, and have aimed their arrow, a poisoned word, that they may shoot in secret places at the blameless. Suddenly do they shoot at him, and fear not. They encourage one another in an evil matter. They converse of laying snares secretly. They ask, who would see them? They search out iniquities. They have accomplished a diligent search, even in the inward thought of every one, and the deep heart. But God doth shoot at them with an arrow suddenly. Thence are their wounds. So they make their own tongue a stumbling unto themselves. All that see them shake the head, and all men fear. And they declare the work of God, and understand his doing. The righteous shall be glad in the Lord, and shall take refuge in him, and all the upright in heart shall glory. All right, let's go back up to verse 1. Once again, a little psalm for the leader, a song of David. David is the beloved, the chosen one, I'd call him. He'd read the manuscripts, and he knew what they said. Exactly what the Word of God says, and Deuteronomy pretty much says it all. We won't go into great detail of that right now, but we're going to go ahead and pick this up here in verse 2. Hear my voice, O God, in my complaint. Preserve my life from the terror of the enemy. Once again, hear my voice. Listen to me, O God, in my complaint. Even though we don't want to, we have to complain sometimes because we don't want to fall apart or subject to the things that are going on. And we're going to need a little help sometimes because we'll find out great wickedness does abound and snares on every corner. Every place they lay one because they try to take your soul. We'll find out there is nothing changed in the world today. 3. Hide me from the counsel of the evildoers, from the tumult of the workers of iniquity. Hide me, keep me safe. Well, we'll find out. We're going to take refuge in the law of God and the understanding He gave us from the beginning. And God will keep us. He will hide us from the counsel of these evildoers. The counsel is the advice or their understanding. We could say their knowledge. We'll find out it's going to be deceit and lies. Because these are the workers of iniquity. These are the workers of perversion. These are the workers of twisting, to take and twist. And this is to create a tumult, so to speak, or trouble. This is going to be some trouble created by these twistings. And we're going to find out it's the Word of God they twist. 4. Who have whet their tongue like a sword and have aimed their arrow, a poisoned word. Who have whet their tongue. And that's that thing that works inside the mouth. It's kind of working behind the scenes, and we're going to find out it's going to be their spirit, their understanding, which they work with in secret places. But they've whet that tongue like a sword, and it's to destroy. And like I said, that sword's a word. That sword's a word. It's a word both ways. It's also going to be the law at the end there, which justly divides. But they've aimed their arrow, and this arrow, or the point of it, we should say, it is a poisoned word. A poisoned word. A word that's going to go in and destroy. It's going to kill. It's idolatry is what it is. 5. That they may shoot in secret places at the blameless. Suddenly do they shoot at him, and fear not. And they conspire, they created this, they done this with, find out in ignorance. It's all going to be the work of God in the end. But they've conspired with their words and with their thoughts and with their understandings against the blameless, those that have no sin, those that are without, that didn't have the law explained to them. They didn't have the Torah from the beginning. They didn't have the blessing. We'll find out. God caused all the other nations to serve idols, but unto you, he said, you shall not do this thing. 6. They encourage one another in an evil matter. They converse of laying snares secretly. They ask who would see them. They ask who would see them, like they're doing some great work that's above everybody's head. Nobody's got any understanding of what's going on. Well, that just wouldn't be the case. See, that just wouldn't be the case. You're seen by the multitudes is what's going to happen. But meanwhile, they encourage one another in this evil matter, in this matter of idolatry, this ignorance that they have invented. And they converse of laying snares secretly. They talk about laying these snares. These are traps, pitfalls. And they prey on your weaknesses. They prey on your emotions of love. They prey on your emotions of compassion. They prey on these emotions. And they take advantage of those that are weak, that are kind-hearted. These that are not so much weak, but they're kind-hearted. Their intent is to do good, and they take advantage of these with their idolatry. And they don't think they're going to be found out. 7. They search out iniquities. They have accomplished a diligent search, even in the inward thought of everyone, and the deep heart. And they search out iniquities. They search out perversions. They search out the twistings. They search out everything. They accomplish it with diligent search. Great minds devoting their lives to this diligent search, trying to figure it all out, how to twist it, manipulate it, to control even the inward thoughts of everyone and the deep heart. They was here a long time. They have abilities. They understanding that goes far beyond that. Most people don't ever pay attention to these things. They think somebody else is going to do these things for you. There's nobody going to look after your soul but you. And the good Lord, if you call on him, will find God would be good. If you observe his covenant, if you'll take up a covenant, make an agreement with God. 8. But God does shoot at them with an arrow. Suddenly, thence are their wounds. And God has done shot them with an arrow, these pointed truths of God's. It's the law. It's a very simple thing. We draw back the bow and we let the arrow go. And we don't have to worry about the target. It knows where it travels. We'll find out that their own understandings have become their snare. Their own understandings have become what caught them. We'll find out when God opens the eyes of all. The darkness is exposed by the light. 9. So they make their own tongue a stumbling unto themselves. All that see them shake the head. And that's basically what it means. They make their own tongue a stumbling unto themselves. You're tripping over your own words because you don't have no understanding. You took up a position that didn't belong to you, and you've been found guilty. Your best bet is to turn and run. Get away from that thing, and we'll find out it's an idol. It's an understanding somebody give you, and it's incorrect. All that see them shake their head, because all that see them, they know better. It's an obvious thing. See, an idol is something that's raised up, and because you don't have no understanding, you choose the idol. Well, see, because you're blind. You have eyes to see, but you're blind. It's right in front of you, and you don't know it's an idol. You don't have no understanding of these things. You haven't searched it out, but they have. Oh, they've searched it out. They've thought about it, and they've been taking advantage of him. They've been taking advantage of generations from generation to generation. We'll see. 10. All men fear, and all men fear, and they declare the work of God and understand his doing. and all men fear. There's understanding in the world. They declare the work of God. They say, oh, God did that. Who else can do that? Who else can work a work like that? And they understand his doing. They understand why he did it. God said, with a mighty hand. See, with a mighty hand. And that's the mighty hand of God right there. God has ability to bring the whole world down in their understanding. But his understanding is still right where it is. His knowledge, his wisdom. He gave you in the beginning the Torah. It's the law, his word that he spoke. His word goes forth instantly to properly divide. 11, the righteous shall be glad in the Lord, shall take refuge in him, and all the upright in heart shall glory. And the righteous, the just, the tzedak, these are the just, they shall be glad in the Lord. Happy, because they knew Lord was just all the time. They knew God was a God of righteousness, a God of justice the whole time. They shall take refuge in him, the refuge in God's understanding, his law, which he gave you in the beginning. This is where they've already took up their refuge. They're in their understanding. And all the upright in heart shall glory. And all those that are correct in their understanding shall glory. So they'll have great understanding in that day. Why? Because they're proven right. When all the world can see what God has done to all the earth, we'll know that day there's a God. We're going to move forward to Psalms 65. Turn and return.